Hello and welcome to the BMC Quick Course series. In this session, I'll show you how to use Change Manager for DB2 to manage archive and archive-enabled tables. Archive tables are new for DB2.11. DB2 can automatically insert rows that are deleted from one table, an archive-enabled or base table, into a separate table, an archive table. If you want to insert rows that are deleted from the archive-enabled table into the archive table, you will need to set the value of global variable sysibm adm.move_to_archive to E. If you set the sysibm adm.move_to_archive to Y, DB2 will insert rows that are deleted from the archive-enabled table into the archive table, but will prohibit an insert or update of a row in the archive-enabled table. Setting sysibm adm.move_to_archive to N means that rows deleted in the archive-enabled table will not be stored in the archive table. This is the default value. If you set sysibm adm.get_archive to Y, references to an archive-enabled table will include rows in the associated archive table. Conversely, if the sysibm adm.get_archive is set to N, then references to an archive-enabled table will not include rows in the associated archive table. An archive table cannot already be an archive table or an archive-enabled table. It cannot contain a period, and it must be the only table in the table space. See the IBM DB2 SQL reference manual for a complete list of restrictions. The columns in an archive-enabled table and an archive table must have the same number of columns in the same order with the same names. They must also have the same data type, length, precision, and scale. They must have the same subtype, null attribute, hidden attribute, CCSID, and field procs. Row ID columns must be generated in the same way. Archive-enabled tables and the associated archive table do not have to be in the same type of table space, although both tables can be the only table in a table space. You can link an archived-enabled table to only one archive table at a time. You can alter the archive-enabled table to disable the existing archive and then do another alter to enable archiving to another table. The following slides will show you how to link an archive table in Change Manager. You edit the table that you want to be the archive-enabled table, indicating you want to link it to another table and specify the archive table name. To link an archive table, first change the new value for the link archive table from N to Y. Note that at this point that the archive table information field is protected, so you cannot select it. After pressing enter, the archive table information is no longer protected. To specify the name of an archive table, type S next to the archive table information and press enter. Specification will display the archive table information panel. Type the table owner and table name for the archive table and press enter. You can use specification to identify archive tables and to change the archive table for an archive-enabled table. Specification will identify an archive table as either TBR or TBBR. The difference is tables marked as TBBR will have large object (LOB) columns and or XML columns. You can type AI next to an archive table or an archive-enabled table in the mixed list to show information about the associated archive-enabled table or the archive table. You can also type AI in the command line of the table detail panel to show the same information. Here is an example of a mixed list with an archive table $TBR and an archive table containing a large object LOB or an XML column base table $TBBR. In this example, I typed AI next to an archive-enabled table to display information for the archive table. After pressing the Enter key, specification displays the associated archive table. From this panel, I can change the name of the archive table. You can also see the archive table information from the table detail panel by typing an S next to the archive table information field and pressing Enter. You can specify disabling the archive of the archive-enabled table from either the archive-enabled table or the archive table by editing the table and typing in the new value for the link archive table. To remove the link between an archive-enabled table and an archive table, type in the new value for link archive table and press Enter. After you have finished making changes in specification, then you need to analyze the work ID. Analysis will ensure that all of the changes follow the rules for archive tables and archive-enabled tables. If analysis discovers an error, it will issue an error message and it will not create a work list. If there are no errors, analysis will generate a work list. The work list will have SQL commands, DB2 commands, and any required utility commands. Here is the syntax to enable an archive table and to disable an archive table. Here's an example of analysis work list with an alter to disable an archive and an alter to enable an archive. In this example, I wanted to rename a column in both the archive-enabled table and the archive table. However, DB2 will not let me do an alter table rename column if the column is in an archive table or an archive-enabled table. Analysis solves the problem by first disabling the archive, then doing the alter table rename column SQL commands, and then enabling the archive. You can see in this work list that analysis wrote out an SQL command to disable the archive, and then SQL commands to rename the columns. Finally, analysis wrote out an SQL command to enable the archive table. Thank you for your time. More information on Change Manager functions, please visit the Change Manager Quick Course series.